Hello, welcome to Coach Grid, here with Kirsten Davis. And today we're going to be talking to you about coaches and why so many of them struggle to make money. I know in the industry, it's kind of a taboo thing to talk about, but it's also the reality that 99% of coaches don't make any money.
Yeah, well, if I tell you I'm not making any money, then are you going to hire me when I'm not? It's like the chicken and the egg thing. Like,
Yeah.
How do you?
Then maybe you won't be confident in me because I'm not making money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand it. And I think we've both fallen into that trap before of needing to create the perceived awareness that we're just rolling in it so that clients want to help us actually do that. But there's a reality to this that most coaches don't make money. And for the coaches that are watching this right now that aren't making money, and it's safe to do this because you're alone in your room and nobody knows that you're watching this video, we want to talk about some of the things that keep coaches held back from making money.
Yeah.
The first one that comes to mind for me is one that I think everybody already knows, and it's consistency.
Oh no. It's like a 4-letter word.
Right. And it's so cliche. So it would be really easy right now to just like move on to the next video, right? Go watch something else. But that is the reality. The number one thing that keep coaches from making money is they will post for a day. They'll post for a week, and they're not millionaires, so they stop. I saw this in the real estate industry when I was in real estate. There'd be an agent that would come in and they'd say, all right, I'm going to knock doors.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I'm going to make my fortune.
Yeah.
And they do that for a week and it wouldn't have worked yet. So they say, okay, well, I'm going to go to phone calls, and they do that for a week. And then that didn't work. And so I'm going to do mailers, and they do that for a week. And then all of a sudden they had done 52 different things, but none of it for longer than a week. And they said, see, the real estate industry is just a mess and I'm not making money. So, well, you didn't do anything for a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And as frustrating as it can be, your ability to show up consistently in a space 30 days or even 60 days in really lends a lot of credibility to who you are.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's showing up in a space, like if you're choosing Instagram and you're showing up on Instagram, that's one level of consistency, but also consistency in what you're saying, what you're teaching, what you're offering. Because I think a lot of people think, well, I've said this twice already, they should know, but 90% of their audience hasn't seen it. And the people that come to their page, like probably will only scroll down like 7 videos. So being able to continuously repeat the same messages and kind of understanding what that framework is that you're speaking within on top of the time consistency.
For sure. All of those can be really important and build on each other. I think the reason why consistency lends to success
Mm-hmm.
is because how many people show up, they're a flash in the pan, and then they're gone forever. And it's whether it's your Instagram business or your podcast or any other thing that you're doing, we've all seen those people that show up and they're there for 2 weeks and this is their whole world,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gone. And
Yeah.
then 30 days later, they show up and they've reinvented themselves and there's something new, and rinse and repeat
Yeah.
for sometimes years.
Yeah. Well, on a psychological level, if you think about, you're hiring a coach to kind of provide some stability and some structure in your life and to help you see blind spots and to know they're going to show up for you when you're not showing up for yourself. So when you're showing up in your marketing, you might think, oh, it's okay. Like it's just marketing, but that's also your brand. That's your image. That's who you are. And it's the beginning of the results that container is going to yield, because that's the trust that's being built and people saying, wow, they show up every single day. That's how they would show up for me, even on a subconscious level.
Yeah. I think we've probably all had the experience before of being in a conversation with someone and a topic comes up that you're not an expert in,
Mm-hmm.
but your mind goes back to somebody that you're seeing all the time on social media.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, do you know such and such a person?
Mm-hmm.
They do this thing. and you become a referral for that person, even though you might not have ever met them and you don't know anything about them. But because they're showing up with the same message over and over again, it's really easy to remember and then have that be somebody that you even kind of feel confident sending somebody else to, because of how passionate they are and how consistent they are in the thing they talk about.
And we really people like repetition. We like what we like. I was watching a murder mystery show yesterday and it was funny. I was in the middle of it and I was like, this is the same show. It even has half of the same actors and actresses as the past 3 shows I've watched, but I'm watching it again because this is what is fun to watch. And it's the same story over and over and over. And we like what we like. So that consistency, I think people sometimes on the content side, like actually what you're saying, if you have the time consistency, but the content consistency, people get afraid of people getting bored or moving on because they're not saying anything new. But if what you're saying is compelling, that's not really a thing.
Yeah. I have a buddy that he has a really interesting experience that happened in his life. And it happened 6 years ago. And sure enough, about every 3 months, he does a new post, tells the same story. And for me, as somebody that's in the market, to this point, for me, it's kind of played out. But I'm astounded that every time he gets massive engagement, the people that are following him, the people that are reaching out to him it's astonishing every single time. Yeah. And it's been literally 5 years at this point that he's been telling the same story.
It works.
It really does.
And it might even be played out for you just because you've evolved into a similar, in the same industry, but people that aren't doing that, it doesn't even get played out for them. They just keep eating it up.
Yeah. So I think we definitely overcorrect to this side of, I need to be new and interesting every single time. And it needs to be different and compelling every single time, which leads to something that looks a lot more like inconsistency than being original and engaging.
Yeah.
So the second thing outside of consistency is the systems that you use to support consistency even when you're not there. Mm-hmm. And for myself as a coach, this is kind of the way that we started to meet and interact with each other. Is I was a coach and I was showing up, but I didn't have any systems in place. Yeah. I had 7 different softwares and a duct tape website and things like that. And I had a lot of momentum and I had a really good message, but I had people that were slipping through the cracks all the time because my systems weren't set up to support the thing that I was doing.
Yeah. Well, one of the first things that I noticed about you that I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of crazy, is you would get a bunch of momentum in one direction. And then 60 days later, you would have this win and you'd be like, I have no idea where this came from. And I'm like, well, it was 60 days ago, but you were on to your next thing and there wasn't a system holding that momentum. And so, yeah, that's another way of saying slipping through the cracks. Right. But I think there's so often we build all this momentum, we do all this work, and then we basically just the drains open. We didn't plug it up. So it's like, okay, bye.
Right. So the clients that I was getting were the ones that were able to maintain their own momentum. Yeah. Even though I didn't have a system to support it.
Yeah. They're breaking down your door.
Right. And those guys were great, but simultaneously I know that there were at least 5 times that of people that would have gone further into coaching with me had I had something to support what we were building, at that time. Yeah. So one of those systems that we talk about is a pipeline. Yeah. And again, it's for a lot of people can be kind of a boring term because it's not super sexy. Mm-hmm. It's literally just kind of a list. But I've seen it over and over again that if you're keeping track and you have an idea of who's coming into this pipeline, and is that automated? Is it set up in such a way that people move through that without me having to manually reach out to every one of them at every point along the journey? That can really support the people that get to the other end of the pipeline that are ready to work with you.
Yeah. I think that might even be a little bit of a high level explanation. If somebody is just getting into sales, marketing, all this the world of business and getting clients and extending their lifetime value and how much money that they're bringing into your business. Maybe kind of even like really oversimplistically, like I was like 5 years old, break down like what is a CRM, what is a pipeline, what would stages in a pipeline be, you know?
Right. That's very good. And I think that's true. And we've talked about that before as well. You kind of take for granted once those systems are in place, how amazing they are and how complex they really can feel until you've started to utilize them.
Yeah.
But for me, this notepad right here is a great example because that's where I started. My notepad was literally, I was writing down a list of names of people that I knew, people that I was interacting with. And then on that list of names, it was, all right, have I talked to them the first time? Have we met together? Have we done like the free consultation that I was offering at the time? Where are they at kind of in this process? Have I offered them coaching? Are they ready to coach with me? If they're not ready to coach with me, have I invited them to this other thing that I do? And I was just keeping track of all of that on a piece of paper.
And what is that? Is that a pipeline?
That's kind of the CRM.
Okay.
And the CRM is just your ability to keep track of people, your ability to keep track of your clients and potential clients as you meet them, as you interact with them.
Yeah.
And what's happened so many times for me before, because I'm who I am, I lost my notepad. And then I was like, well, hopefully those people remember me because they're kind of out in the ether now. And I had to just hope that I was going to be able to remember in my brain or somewhere or my notes app on my phone, all the different people that I was interacting with. Who did I need to follow up with? Who had I promised that I was going to get them this YouTube video? Who had I talked to about going to this thing that they were doing and supporting them in their thing? It's a lot to keep track of. Yeah.
And really, it's a lot of mental baggage. Like, even if you can, the amount of space that it frees up to have that organized is also a massive win for me. Like, that was one of the biggest things I noticed. Is like, well, I don't need that. I can keep track of it all. And I was, but that's like all I was doing.
Right. When I want to be a coach.
Yeah.
I'm really good at coaching on this thing. And now I'm spending all of my time in my notepad and on this place and in this place, trying to keep track of people and trying to move them along through the system. And that's kind of what a pipeline is, and we could use the term funnel as well. The top of funnel is the most people that you know. And then you try to funnel them down into the people that are more interested in what you have to say. And they get down past another level and they're more interested in what you have to say. So all this to say that when you have these systems in place, that you then can be really successful as a coach and start to make more money because those people aren't slipping through the cracks the way they have before.
Yeah. So if somebody right now is keeping track of people, hopefully they're keeping track of them. I guess if you're not, that's where you can start writing them in a notebook. But if somebody has 18 notebooks and every event they get a new notebook, open up the middle of it, write stuff down. What is the next best step so that they can start making money? What should they go and do today?
And that's what we do, right? When we talk to new coaches, we have coaches that are at varying points along their journey, but they're ready to move to the next level. They're ready to move into something that is sustainable and profitable. And those are the two words that we use a lot with our clients: sustainable and profitable. Because you can be profitable that way, but not for very long. And you can sustainably have 3 people, but that's not going to be very profitable. So when we start talking to them, we start building out a system where that gets to leave their brain, it gets to leave the notebook. It's gathered and collected automatically through the technology that we use. And they get to just go be a coach sustainably and profitably. So to me, that's the best thing, is not to try to do all that software yourself, but find somebody who does that really, really well and let them do that for you so that you can go do more of the thing you're really good at. So thank you for being with us here today. If this has resonated with you, if you're one of those people that maybe has 7 notebooks behind you and is trying to keep track of it that way, and maybe you've reinvented yourself 7 or 8 times, reach out to us. You can reach out at coachgrid.com or on Instagram at coachgrid. And we hope to talk with you soon.